Welcome to It's Not That Serious podcast.
I'm Elodie.
I'm Malaya. Honestly, y'all, we just wanted to come here and film and be spontaneous. We were having like a really good conversation yesterday, and I'm like, sis, this could be podcast talk. Honestly, usually we don't film back to back because we just filmed last Monday? Mm-hmm. Was that last Monday?
Last Wednesday.
Yeah, and we usually take a break, and I'm like, we need to stop taking breaks because I feel like when you stay consistent on something you really do enjoy, and I feel like this is a purpose for us both, you know? Mm-hmm. Been through some shit, talk about it, and I'm like, we need to go crazy, okay? We're holding ourselves back. You are your worst enemy, honestly. So, yeah.
And I just feel like we like to come on here prepared, organized, have a topic ready. We really plan and invest into each episode. So this one is just like
no agenda. Just raw.
Real
and honestly, from the last episode, so many, how we really didn't even have like questions. People were like, it felt so real and genuine,
like
you know?
Sitting here with us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this weekend was just like, I don't know. This weekend was weird as fuck, sis. Like, retrograde was retrograding, and I feel like so much shit it was like good things but bad things. It was just like, I don't know, God is just showing you to keep going, but also the devil's gonna try to stop you, so you got to be prepared to like just keep going. But this weekend I actually had a good weekend, actually, besides all the crazy shit that I was like going through. Like, oh my God,
you experienced
a lot,
a little bit of everything this weekend.
Yeah, it was kind of like watching myself in some ways and just seeing like when you watch somebody else go through something and like you just realize like how far I've came and realize like, damn, if you stay in that situation, how much that can impact your whole entire life.
Energy.
Yes.
Every decision matters.
Did that make sense?
It did.
Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it was like,
I was gonna say a lot of your past. I can't really hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can't really hear you.
I was gonna say I feel like a lot of kind of just like our past kind of came up this weekend.
Yeah.
Whether it was with people or just like reactions that we would have kind of given in the past, we didn't.
Yeah.
But you could speak for yourself. I just feel like, I don't know why I feel so like emotional after this weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. This weekend was like a lot of clarity for me, honestly. Yeah. I feel like I lost a friend but gained somebody else which is so crazy. Not to get too personal, but I had a cousin that we fell off for like almost 6 years, I think.
That's
almost
insane.
6, 7. Yeah, and what's more insane, we were so close. Like, honestly, she was one of my best cousins. Like, we did everything together. Like, girl, she put a tampon in me. Like, we did everything. Like, we were so inseparable. And so it's weird now. Like, even like I stopped really feeling like that. How do I explain it? Like, I didn't have no animosity with her for a very long time. Like, I kind of got over it. Like, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, life goes on. She has her own life. I have my own life. Like, I don't really care anymore. But we've never seen each other to actually have that real conversation.
Like, in this past 6 years, you haven't seen each other at all?
Well, I did see her at the fair like a couple weeks ago, but we don't have no interactions. We're not talking. Right. So I know she would never go out of her way, and I'm not going to go out of my way. But there was a couple times where, like, you know, when she had a daughter and, you know, my dad went to prison, she was like, I wanted to reach out. I'm like, yeah, I wanted to reach out, but it's just we never knew if it was like, if I didn't want her to never
mutual.
Yeah, like if the feelings were mutual, and like I didn't want her to like think that I wasn't being genuine, and I think vice versa. So
do you feel like it's because you guys were kind of very similar?
Very similar, but very different.
Okay.
But very similar. It's crazy. So we had a conversation this weekend, and it's just so crazy. Like, when you talk to a person and you haven't talked in a really long time on just, like, how much your lives change. And just, like, being so self-aware of who I am now and just listening to her talk and just knowing that, like, man, back then we were just immature as fuck. Like, communication but understanding each other goes such a long fucking way, you know?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and then with just losing a friend, honestly, that's just, I don't even know. Like, that subject is really topic because I take my friends very seriously, you know? I feel like when I pick and choose my friends, I'm very serious about friends. So it's just like, it does suck when you lose a friend, but it's just like for my own good benefit, because I'm just tired of people just like, I get it. We all go through toxic relationships and we go through things, but damn, there's really only so much you can handle. Like,
and I also feel like you're the type of friend that doesn't give up on their friend in like just the first time. Like, you give people chances.
Right. And so when I tell you, you do this and you go back, I'm done being your friend, I'm being dead ass, because that just shows how much you're like breaking my peace, you know? Especially because, you know, when you're that strong friend, everybody comes to you, but it's just like, I'm not a strong friend all the time. Like, there's only so much I can take. And especially when, like, I put myself, because I feel like I'm very empathetic. So when my friends go through something, I feel like I feel it. Like, it really takes over, like, my life.
Yeah.
And I'm trying
You internalize it for sure.
Yeah, and I'm really trying to just, like, not allow myself to be like that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of, like, over that. And honestly, you just have to be very mindful on the friends you choose nowadays, to be honest.
I was going to say that I feel like we're at a point in our life and at an age that we have to be a little more transparent with people around us. Like, if you're going to keep doing certain things, I can't be around you, man.
Right.
Like, I just can't, because now you're overtaking overstepping my boundaries.
Yeah.
But you're, like, now taking part of my energy.
But
I don't
sis,
like that.
it's not even no, like, simple toxic shit. This shit is, like, where you're gonna
Draining.
physically get harmed.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't play with. Remember, I just told y'all I do not play with crazy ass men who you can't. Okay, one thing I want ladies to understand: you cannot challenge a man. Like, you're not gonna win. They don't give a fuck. Like, even when you're in a heartbreak and you think like how men get over somebody, they gotta get under somebody. Women, that does not work for us. You don't do that. You need to heal alone, because at the end of the day, it sucks. But like, when women do that, we're called whores, we're called hoes, and it's just not the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Men, they do that. They honestly really don't give a fuck. They don't get labeled as that. You know, that's just the normal thing for men to do. Like, you know what I mean? We operate very
praised.
differently.
Right.
Yeah. With women, no, just don't challenge a man. When a man's hurt and you keep provoking him, it's just like you're also accountable for making shit so much worse.
And a lot of women tend to play victim.
Always. Yeah. And then until shit get very seriously.
Yeah. But I also think, I don't know, in this situation, I just feel like you've done what you could.
Yeah.
It's time to wipe your hands clean. And, like, because I do see, and even when you were telling me yesterday kind of what happened, like, I could feel the energy and the heaviness of the situation.
Yeah. And
I just can't imagine what you've already felt.
Yeah.
Going through all that. So,
especially one of my closest friends. But honestly, it is what it is.
But I also feel like we're at an age that our friends need to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Like, we need to tell each other what's up, what's wrong, what's, like, you know, at some point you got to say, okay, I can't be around you anymore, because now you're disrupting my peace, my mental clarity. Like, enough is enough. Like, it's okay to break up with a friend. I do think that.
Yeah. And it was like more so of an ultimatum. Like, it wasn't like, I'm gonna stop being your friend. It's him or me. At this point in time, because you continue to go back, then honestly, I have to start questioning you. Like, what that man just did to you, like, what? Not even just you, but me. I had to get involved in that. Like, my life was also at risk. You know what I mean? So I don't play with my motherfucking life. I love my life, y'all. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I love my life. And now I understand when parents are like, you need to mind your fucking business, because that was just a business that I could have just mind. But it sucks because it did come to me.
Right.
But it's just like, mind your fucking business. Stop getting involved in shit. And that's why every little thing that I went through with my person, not my person, but my ex, like, I didn't want to involve a lot of people, because people could get hurt in a lot of toxic relationships. And it's not fair, you know?
And it just sucks, because the more you know about someone, the more your perception starts to change about them.
Yeah.
Like, you're not who I thought you were.
Yeah.
In a sense. And that goes for friends, men, relationships. Like,
and I also had to tell this person too, like, if that ever happened to me, I would hope that you would tell me something. I would hope that you would also do the same, because I need to learn. Like, I feel like if I continue to be your friend, then I'm also
enabling her.
Yes. No, absolutely not. So I just can't deal with shit like that no more, honestly. And I just feel like I have so much shit that I got going on in my own life that it's just like, we all fight for happiness and joy every day in life, you know, but we get to pick and choose how we want to have peace and joy. So
how to maintain that, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things sent to destroy us, and it can be the smallest things, the biggest things, but we do pick and choose. And I feel like if we have to choose that, so should they. Like, so should our friends. We have to surround ourselves with people that are just as mindful of us as we are to them, you know?
Yeah.
So
how was your weekend?
My weekend was just an emotional roller coaster. I got my period. So I'm just feeling everything 10 times.
That was me last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I just want to cry about everything. Like, I'm just like...
It's okay to cry, sis.
I know, but I'm just like...
I feel like you never cry. You do only when
alone.
something's like happening to you, and you're like, sis, do I have a lump on my chest?
If I'm freaking
Not
out...
that's funny, but that's like, yeah.
Yeah. I don't cry. I don't... You know, for a long time I thought I was emotionally unavailable due to everything I just experienced in my life these past 3 years. But now that I'm like really starting to heal and really dive deep into like my self-reflection and figuring out who I am, a lot of things make me emotional. And a lot of it has to do with respect. When people start to disrespect me and my character and like, you know, just see me as like a person they can, I don't know how to explain it, but
okay, let me ask you something, and this is probably gonna get really deep.
yeah.
Do you feel, because I was like this in my life where people were like, you're so aggressive, you're so this, you're so that, but like, has anybody ever asked you like, why are you like that? You know?
No.
Right. You know what I mean?
They're so quick to get on me, but they don't ask me why no.
And I feel like nobody, men, especially with men, and I know you get very defensive with men and like, just like everybody else, but like, what the fuck do people ever ask? Like, why are you like that, Elodie? You know, instead of just like fucking degrading you and just like making you feel like
lesser than. I think that's one of my biggest pet peeves with people. It's like, they're so quick to jump on your character, but they don't start to ask, why are you like that?
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I'm just constantly getting tested, especially with men, you know, these past couple of weeks, that I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing wrong? Am I doing something? Like, is this social media? Is this what, you know, it's doing to us, that it's starting to let people feel like we're not human? Like, I don't give a fuck how many followers I have. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care what I post. I'm still a person. Like, I have feelings, and I do get hurt, and I really think I need to start speaking on them, because people just really think they could just treat me however they want, and I don't like that.
Yeah, and I think that's where you're getting to a stage where you're figuring out you, and you're gonna realize this. Like, yeah, we all have a lot to work on, but not everything has to do with you. A lot of these men can't handle rejection, just as women, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just like everything is a projection, because men can't handle rejection, so they're just gonna make you feel less than what you are.
And I just feel like the environments I put myself in, it's like, all right, Elodie, like I told you, I had such a great conversation with my friend, and like, he's a male and he's so emotionally intelligent. It just felt so refreshing talking to someone like that, especially a man, getting a man's perspective, because he was so quick to check me. And I feel like I don't have enough men to check me in my life to tell me, this is what you're doing wrong. He literally, and I told you, he literally was like, first of all, you have no business being in the club. None at all. Do you think you're going to find your husband there? I was like, no. He's like, so what are you doing there? You can do better things with your time than be at a club. You have a podcast. You're a realtor. You can do more than that if you wanted to. And I'm just like, wow, like that to me got me so emotional, because I'm just like, what am I doing in a club? Like, what am I doing dealing with the people that I'm dealing with? Like, I don't know, sis. I just feel so...
What do you think it is that's making you so emotional, like, though, like, today? Like, are you questioning yourself?
Yeah, like, I'm just hurt. Like, and I think it just goes back to, like men that I've loved in my life that have never loved me the same, or, like, given me that same, like, validation, you know? And, like, now that I'm single, you just see things in such a different light. And, like, I don't know, like, I'm just so tired of being disrespected by people and by men. Like, what else do I gotta do? Like, what else? Like, it just makes me so angry.
I know.
But it's something I gotta figure out, because I keep thinking, I'm gonna communicate with them. Communicate with them. And it takes me back to my dad. Like, my dad never, I don't have a communicative relationship with my dad. He never took the time to understand me. So I think it hurts when men don't take the time to understand me, and they just label me as, like, some Instagram girl, or, like, some bougie girl, or, like, whatever they label me as, some party girl. I don't know, but they don't take the time to understand, like, my roots, and they just see that I'm so defensive and so aggressive. And, like, kind of what Samson said, like, a battered woman. Like, that shit does get to me, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Words hurt.
And I realize that's one of my hardest, that's one of the things that I really struggle with are words, because either they can really make me or break me. And that's one of my love languages, is, like, words of affirmation. So when people tell me something so sweet and so nice, I really take it in, but vice versa. If they're so evil to me and, like, just treat me like I'm so disposable, like, I take that in so heavily. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've reserved myself a lot as a person, because I'm just so scared to give my energy to anybody. Like, I can't. It makes me like this. I, like, get so overwhelmed And I don't want to be like that. I'm not naturally like that. I want to be happy, but I think these are the bumps that I have to go along throughout my healing process. Like, I have to understand that it's not me, and if it is me, I have to remove myself from certain situations. So it's just tough. I'm just learning a lot, and a lot has to do, I think, with my dad.
Yeah. Well, one, give me a hug. I love you.
Oh.
Seriously. I even hate to see you cry because I would never want, like, who the fuck are these men to ever make, like, you question yourself? But I understand where you're coming from, but it just kind of upsets me. But I just want you to understand that has a lot to do with, like, when you're questioning ourselves, sometimes our ego gets in the way, you know?
Yeah.
And it's why I always say, like, we just have to, like, move with just pure hearts because, like, that's really who you are. You're so pure. But I know when it comes to men, it's so easy to put our ego up because it's like, and sometimes ego saves us. So you're not wrong. It's good to have that most of the times. And I want people to understand that, like, it's so hard to move pure with a lot of people because a lot of people don't have good intentions.
They don't. And they don't care to get to know you.
Yeah.
They don't care to see outside of what they see on social media. And that's the scariest part.
Yeah.
And, like, that's kind of why I steer away from being, like, such an influencer because that shit can get draining. Like,
yeah. And that's why I just don't like that word because it's like, I don't like people having these high expectations because it's like, I'm me and I'm going to be me. Like, whether you like it or not. Like, I'm still healing. I'm still dealing with a lot of shit. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? And it's just like, don't have these high expectations on me. And I think with you, I think that just you have to realize, like, once you become self-aware, sis, so many people around you who aren't are gonna hurt you because you're gonna be like, damn, like, this is what the fuck I was, like, dealing with. And then you start to, like, distance yourself from people like that, and it just becomes better. You know what I mean?
I think that's just what I'm dealing with right now is, like people around me are really lacking self-awareness, and I'm so big on that because I'm trying to figure out why I feel the way I feel. Kind of what you mentioned last week, like, you sat with yourself to see why you were angry at certain things, why you were sad at certain things, and, like, I'm really just taking it all in right now. So
yeah, and it's gonna be a journey. It's gonna be a journey. And I actually, there's a message today. It was man, what was it? It was, when you become a flower, that's when bees attract, you know, because a flower, maybe that's not even the right word.
I get it.
You know, and it's just like, to grow a flower is a journey. You know, you have to go through a lot to become that perfect flower. And then once you become that flower, you're going to attract so many bees. And that's where you're going to, like, leave all these little dusty-ass little gnats that keep attracting you. And you're going to realize there's going to be real ones who are self-aware and who are capable of, like, valuing you and becoming that person for you. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm just...
No. I get exactly what you're saying. And I think that's kind of what I'm struggling with because, you know, like, this year was just my year of loss. Like, friendships, relationships. I also had to let go of a friend this year. And, like, I think I'm just starting to, like, really understand, like, who values me and who doesn't. Who can I surround myself with that really sees Elodie for who she is and loves her for who she is despite what she's going through, and who doesn't. Like, it is a journey, and I'm just going through the waves of it.
Yeah. And when we go through stuff like that, because I feel like we're the same way when, like, we're down bad, like, we have to really protect our energy because, like, I feel like, you know, who you are, who I am, we're two completely different people, but like, we also have very similarities. Like, we are a bright light. When we come into something, we're like the life of the party. So it's just like, when you know you can't show up your best, just, it's okay to take a break, sis. Like, we were just talking about, I'm like, this week, I'm like, I need a social media break. Like, if it's not with my work, my job, I need a fucking break. So just understand it's okay to take a break and isolate yourself. Read a lot. Honestly, that's the best way to learn you, to understand you. You got to keep reading and reading. That's what helped me a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this time. I cleaned the whole house yesterday. Like, I'm just gonna take this time to really get to know myself a little better. And I think I'm just in a phase where I'm sad and I'm angry.
That's okay.
And I don't know what, but I'm just sad and I'm angry. And I think it has a lot to do with, like, the way I grew up, you know? Like, I don't open up about the way I grew up, like my parents. And my parents are getting older. And, like, my dad's getting older. And I just sit here and I'm like, damn, like, I'm 26 years old. My dad, I don't know how long I'm going to have him left, but he doesn't even know me the way that I want him to know me. So it's like just a lot of shit is coming up from my past that I never dealt with. I suppressed for such a long time. And now God's like, you need to face this. Like, you need to deal with this now.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to. But
have you talked to your dad?
No.
Like, you've never had these conversations with your dad?
Oh my God, I can't.
Why?
It's hard. I can't even talk about it with, like, ever since, like, dude, ever since that man got heart surgery, like, I didn't realize how much my dad meant to me because I had such a guard up with him. And, like, man, having a father's love is so different.
Mm-hmm.
It literally does stay in your heart. And, like, I think that's why a lot of my relationships with men fail, because I don't know how a man is supposed to treat a woman. I just know how I don't want to be treated, you know? And so, no, I can't ever tell him how I feel. I love him so much, but I can't.
You can, though. And I think that's something that you're talking about right now, to face, like, these challenges in your life, and do it. What are you scared of? You know, just getting out of your comfort zone and just face it. Just talk to him.
Yeah, I know.
And sis, there's so much beauty that might even come out of that. You know, something that you probably need to hear. Because I always tell you, sometimes when I just need my dad, I just need to hear that, honey, you're okay. You know, just maybe you need that. Yeah. Maybe you just need to hear something from him.
I feel like.
But also going with the intentions of knowing that, like, if it doesn't go your way, it's just like sometimes.
And he's probably incapable. You know, like, incapable to give me what I need. And that's what scares me. And I think that's why I don't want to have those conversations, because if it doesn't go the way I want it to, I'm almost going to feel let down.
Well, as your friend, I'm the friend that's like, no risk, no reward. So yeah. I always say, like, go in and just do it. Because what if one day, and I hate to speak this, you know, we're all going to die one day. I would hate for you to be questioning yourself, like, why didn't I ever do it? Why didn't I do it when I had the chance? You know, now that you have the chance to do it, he's alive, you're alive, and just talk. Talking goes a long way. Communicating goes a long way.
I think I'm starting to learn how to do that. It's just, I get like this. I get so emotional, and I feel like I guard
being emotional
heart.
Doesn't mean that we're weak, though. There's so much, like, being emotional.
But I've always been that strong person. Like, the way you say you're the strong friend, girl, I've been the strong everything. The strong daughter, the strong friend, the strong girlfriend, like, I can never just sit back and be the one that's taken care of. I'm always taking care.
What reward do we get for being strong? Nothing. It's okay to be you. It's okay to be Elodie, the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I don't know what that looks like.
I know. But I think with communicating with him and talking to him and venting to him, even if you're feeling uncomfortable, bring your mom with you.
Yeah. I don't know how that would be, but...
Does she communicate with him?
Mm-mm. My parents?
Do you think that's why it's hard to have a conversation? Because your mom really never had that relationship with him?
Yeah, I think it's just hard in general for me to communicate with both my parents. Because, again, they've only seen the strong Elodie. They don't know. They can't handle the weak one. Like, I've always figured everything out. I'm literally like my mom's husband. Literally like my mom's husband. And she's going to watch this probably and be, like, asking me so many questions on it, which is fine, but...
I love your mom.
I love her, too. I just feel like she's always needed that reassurance. And I think I've been that reassurance for her whole life. That I'm, like, at a point, I can't do that right now. Like, I need to work on Elodie. I need to work on me and figure out who I am. I can't keep taking care of other people. So I think I'm just at a moment right now that I'm so overwhelmed with everyone around me. I literally just want to be in bed and, like, just shut the door and have a day for myself, you know? But I don't mean to put this all out there.
No, sis, that's okay. Honestly, it's weird to say. Like, I feel like when I go through a lot, listening to other people's problems kind of helps me in a weird way.
I did say that before.
Yeah, I think that's what, like, I don't know if it's a distraction, but it's just like, it just reminds me that we all go through something.
Oh my God. Know? Especially the ones that seem like they don't.
Yeah. And that's why I say just being gentle to people, because you never know what people are facing right now. Honestly, we live in a fucking crazy ass world, you know? And I think the best thing I could say to you is just try to find peace with yourself, and instead of being at war with the world, you know? And once you're at peace with yourself and, like, what you're leaning towards, you're going to just, there's going to be so much, like, how do I say this? Like, the way you communicate with your dad, the way you communicate with men later on, and maybe you do need to communicate with your dad to, like, learn.
Heal that part. No, yeah. That's true.
I don't know. I wish I'd had the right words for you, because it's just so hard to, like, go through that, you know? Like, I don't know. I've never...
I don't think there's anything, like, perfect that can be said to me. I think I just needed to really let this out. Like...
Right.
I didn't even know any of this had to do with my dad until I started to, like, connect the dots in my head. Like, why do certain men's actions really affect me? And I think it's because it's consistently being overlooked the same way I've been overlooked by my dad. And I don't think he does it intentionally. I don't think he's like, let me hurt my daughter. I just think that he was never held accountable by any woman he was with. And that is what's triggering to me. And that's why I want to check all of these men. Like, come on, bro. Like, don't be like this. Don't disrespect. But it's like, that's not my place to do that.
We're not God.
Yeah, it's not my place to do that. So, yeah, it's definitely a touchy subject. And I've always just wanted to be an advocate for women that don't have their fathers in their life, because it's not easy.
No.
It's not easy at all. And you experienced a little bit of that when your dad went to prison, you know, like.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand where you come from, being the strong person, and just like, even to this day, I don't think like, we always talk about the dark thing I went through when I was, when my dad went to prison. I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to get that.
It's up to you.
You know, so I feel like there's a lot of like resentment that I hold towards, I don't want to say like my because this is where I need you to understand too. With my family, I went through a lot when I was raped at 22, right? Whew, you know, and I could talk about it, and I always wanted to talk about it because I know like a lot of people go through being sexualized with men, and it's a scary feeling. You know, the person that I am today, I have such a strong demeanor that I didn't think that would ever happen to me, because it's just like, you know, I hold up this, I don't
think anyone thinks that it would be them.
Yeah, I don't know, this conversation makes me nervous.
Sis, but you could cut this out if you want.
No, I'm at a place in my life where not that I found peace, but I found peace within myself, where like nothing anybody could say could trigger me, because I was where you were at, where I was at war with the world. Yeah. Like I really was. And I never talked about it, and I held that in for a really long time. That was eating me up. Like that changed me as a person. I became mean. It changed my heart. I became just such a bitter bitch. Like it made me, I don't think men realize the impact they could put on you. And like that person just changed me so bad as a person. And so like, because I didn't talk about it, and like I didn't go to my parents, because it was something that I was holding, just because it's like I was protecting other people. And I didn't realize like how bad it was changing me. And it caused like a lot of resentment to my parents, because it's like, why can't I come talk to you? Like, why can't I tell you this? Why can't I show vulnerability? It's because I'm always having to show up as a strong person.
Right.
So I feel like this kind of comes to a place with you where you're just holding everything in because you keep wanting to be strong, but it's changing you, sis.
Oh my God, day and night. Like,
yes, and you just have to talk about it. Sometimes you just have to talk about it. It's okay if you don't get the right words for yourself. Just talk, just how you're talking to me right now. And I didn't know a lot about that, you know, just expressing yourself, you know. And if I don't even have the right words, it's just good just to keep talking and keep self-reflecting that.
Right.
So with that, I kind of went through that, and my dad found out when he was in prison. The worst way to ever find out about what happened to your daughter, you know.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, you know, you're 6 feet away. I can't even hug my dad.
Did you tell him that?
What?
You told him yourself?
Yes. Well, he had no choice to find out because I had a broken hand. And to him, it was like, you know, I get where you're coming from when people are like telling you, well, why are you like this? You're a battered woman. You're aggressive. You're this and that. And the first words my dad was like, well, what'd you do, honey? Because I know how you are. And it was just like, damn, you know, if only you knew. Why doesn't everybody ask Malaya, like, why is Malaya mean? Why is Malaya aggressive, you know? So like when I had told him, it was kind of like no, pa, that's not what happened. But, you know, I can understand where you're coming from, you know. So when I had told him, he's like, why didn't you ever tell me? And it's just like, how could I? I didn't know how to. I don't think anybody who's gone. I even hate to say those words, yeah, but has got put in those positions to like really know how to talk about it. You know why? Because it's the first thing is, well, what did you do?
Yeah. What did you do to provoke it?
And I was so young and 22, and I was so many words triggered me. Like, you know, it was like, I would never forget one of my family members. She told me, she's like, do you ever think it happened to you because the way you act and dress?
Are you for real?
Sis, yes.
Was it a woman?
Yes. And to this day, I still kind of look at her very differently. When I tell you, you know, I have a lot to always say to people. I looked at her and I literally was like, I don't even know what to say to you right now. Like, that to me was just so triggering, and just like, this is exactly why I never, you know, talk about it. And when things happen to you, you don't have to go fucking tell the world, but you need to talk about it. Because right now, at my age, what that man did to change my heart or change who I was, it does not define who I am today.
Right.
And I want women to know that. What any man does to you, I could only understand. I can understand it because I've been through it, and I feel like you have to go through some shit to understand some shit.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it doesn't define who you are. You know what I mean?
But at the moment, did you feel like it did?
Oh, yeah. I felt, man, I would never harm myself, but I was a lot of suicide thoughts that I thought, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy because I don't think anybody would think that, you know?
No, not at all.
I don't even want to cry. But it's like so crazy to think how, like, I just was like, why me, God? Why? Like, you know, like, is it because how I act, you know?
You really start, and I think, is that why you asked me, am I starting to question myself because of this?
Yeah, because you do, you know, like, I was like, am I too
me?
wild? Is it the way I dress? So I started changing who I am and just, like, not knowing who I am.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what I went through, and just, like, not having my dad, it's just like, I didn't know how to communicate with my mom because we just were never vulnerable with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned that, like, you have to talk about things to release things, to understand things, you know? And till this day, like, I will never tell that person I forgive them, but I have to forgive the situations to move on and find peace with my heart, because it was a time I was really at war with myself. And, like, that's where I see where you're becoming. And it's just like, I never want you to, like, question yourself, you know? Because, like, it really could make you a different person, you know? And, like, that's why I think that, like, when people are so down bad and, like, they're a cry for help, because that's exactly what I was, you know? I'm always there because it's like, I get it, but it's like, damn, I can't put myself in that situation to be there for you and be a punching bag all the time, you know?
Right.
And I think that's why, like, even with, like, a lot of my partners, even one of my, like, the relationship I was in 7 years, sis, we did not have sex. There was a lot of the times we did not have sex. I was triggered most of the time. It ruined our relationship.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it did. Like, really, really bad.
Were you able to talk about it with him? Did he know why?
It all came out when, you know, how everything went down. I would never get personal on this thing, because I know that I've got to a place in my life where it's at peace. I could only advocate for women who have been raped, and that's all I would ever do. Getting deep in details, I would never do that. But, yeah, it just, I don't know.
As a 22-year-old, you know, we're older now. We understand more. You being 22, how did that affect the way, did you feel like you had to grow up faster?
I don't know, because I think when you get in those things, you disrespect your body. Mm-hmm. There's a point in my life I didn't give a fuck about myself. I'm like, why should I eat it?
Yeah.
I didn't care. So I think I was going through a stage where it's just like having fun,
you
drinking. You
disassociated yourself.
Yeah. Like, it's like my whole soul got out of my body, and I just started doing crazy shit, and just like, I don't care. You know, just that mindset. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody else did, you know, and it's such a bad mindset to have, like a really bad mindset to have. And, yeah, I don't know. I would just tell people that, you know, you got to just heal and just remember that it's not you. You're not the problem.
Do you, looking back at that situation now that you're kind of in a better place with it, do you think it was your fault?
No.
Like,
I think what any man does to you in that aspect, it's never the girl's fault. Never. No, I don't. And I blamed myself for a long time, like, that it was my fault.
Yeah.
It's my fault. It's my fault. Fuck no, it wasn't my fault. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, men just need to learn to control themselves, men and women, because it happens to men too. Yep. You know, men and women, humans need to learn to control themselves. Mm-hmm. And no, and that's what I would have to say to people. It's not your fault. And man, you got to find God in those situations, and you got to just talk about it. Like, there's my sister, she was a big help. She helped me so much. And yeah, I love her so much for that, because I was at a point in my life where I couldn't find God. I didn't understand, like, why me, God? Why would you put me in this position?
Right.
And I feel like, I don't know if I had to go through that, because I feel like now I'm more aware.
Right.
Like drinking alcohol and being around people and just not knowing, blacking out, and just like, I'm very mindful now of my life and who I am and where I'm surrounding myself with,
who you're around.
Yeah, so I'm very more observant. So, but I understand where you're coming from, because I don't think my dad and my family know how much I feel. Like, they know about it now, but it's like we still never really had them real topics. I'm like, when I was going through the stage last year healing, they're just the whole like, well, we know how you are, Malaya, but it's just like, damn, like that stuff is triggering to me still to this day.
Right.
I know how to control myself more, but even like my last relationship, he always called me selfish, and it's just like, you really think I'm selfish? That's crazy. Do you know what I went through to become this person? Like, it's a slap in the face.
Absolutely. And do you feel like, because it's true, we've talked about it, both of our families see us already in a certain light. Do you feel like that's kind of why you don't show vulnerability with them? You don't show them this side of Malaya? Because I'm pretty sure they've watched this and like have seen a different side of you.
Yeah. Well, I know that they know that I've changed for the better.
Yeah.
But it's just like, do you know why I changed for the better?
Do you know how deeply I was affected by the things I went through?
Yeah, they do, though. They do now. But it's just, I hope they're more cautious now and they know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, we still haven't had that deep conversation, honestly.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy topic.
It's not at all. No, it's not. But like, I feel for a lot of young women, because it's so crazy. A lot of like in the Hispanic culture and a lot of minorities,
a lot of young women.
Yeah, we go through things and it changes us and it makes us disrespect ourselves, and fuck no, like, please don't talk to somebody. Like, that was deep, sis.
That was so deep.
It's crazy, because
I feel like it was needed. I feel like like you said, we're such a light. We love to give positivity, but I think people need to realize
life is not perfect
and how we got to that positivity.
Yeah.
Like, we've both been through shit, and we're going through shit day in and day out, and I think we're just being more selective now with who gets our energy.
Yes.
Like,
yes. So it's like, honestly, like, I think that's what it is, becoming more self-aware of what you just said, of like who you bring into your life, because it's a huge impact into your future.
Absolutely.
And I think, like, before, I was just young and just not very self-aware, and just like going through that and just like everything else I did, the loss of just losing my dad at those times, it made me so much more stronger and resilient, though. But it was also a very tough time.
Absolutely.
Like, if it was like,
and I have to tell you, 22-year-olds are not experiencing what you've experienced. That's not normal. Like, that's not a common thing. Having your dad go to prison, having to have that experience of being
an advocate of just being sexually assaulted.
Like, that's not a normal day-to-day life for anybody. So I feel like you speaking up about it will definitely help the younger people that have dealt with those things. Even older people have dealt with those things.
Yeah. I mean, around that time, it's like I felt like I was taking a loss after loss after loss. I'm like, damn, what the fuck else, man? Like, it's just, then the lawsuit hit me, and it's just like, I would say the best advice that helps me is just leaning on people who really care about you. And I have to keep saying that, man, because you could really lose yourself in this fucking life. Like,
yeah.
Like I said, I would never hurt myself. But man, thank God that I am so strong enough to know that, like, light, there's so much beauty in light, and that things do get better. But there's some people who are not strong enough,
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and maybe this could be a podcast that they listen to when they do need that strength.
Yeah.
And I feel like,
I know that we say it's not that serious. This is serious.
It is. This episode, we just wanted to talk. I feel like we had such a long weekend.
This was not even our plan to talk about this.
No, it just fell into place, but I'm happy because it shows the genuinity of our lives. Like, for you, I can't say, being your friend and watching you going through that time, you always had people around you that just wanted you around for your energy. They didn't really value you. They didn't really see, this Malaya with these feelings. And I feel like whatever you went through after that, I feel like you really took a look in the mirror and you were like, these people aren't good for me. these places aren't good for me.
And it kind of goes back to like when we had that conversation, I give love, I don't know how to receive it. And I'm like, am I not knowing how to receive it because of what happened to me? You know what I mean? It's just like, why do I feel like I don't deserve it? You know, it's weird.
That's a really tough question.
I know.
Why don't I feel like I deserve love?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like...
I know I do.
Yeah,
and I feel
absolutely.
like I've experienced, like I always say, ego and pure. And I think that's where I'm at, like where I'm scared. Why do I want to get in a relationship with somebody else or like get deep? Because I know what pure love is because I give it to myself.
And you give it to those
I've
around
experienced
you.
it with myself. So it's like when you experience the pure love, it's like, why do I want to get back in my ego and get back in a relationship and give that to another man to bring me back? No. I mean, hopefully it won't be like that. But right now I'm like, you know, experiencing pure love with myself.
And that's beautiful.
I don't think I've never really been alone how I have been in this past year.
And that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say that? Do you feel like you're always like having to talk to someone or...
I think I was just always surrounding myself, distracting myself for a reason, you know, just not facing your problems. We all go through it, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's why a lot of people are mean in this world because it's like you have your own issues you're scared to face, so you're going to pinpoint somebody else's issue.
Absolutely. And I think I brought up this quote because I really love it. It says, a person without self-reflection never changes. They just get older.
Mm-hmm.
They get older and they
It's
may
real,
have more
man.
money and they may have more nice things, and they're not getting nicer because of it. They're going to be the same ugly person.
I know. And what you're going through, sis, I know it may seem sad and you may feel alone, but dude, becoming self-aware and self-reflecting, there's so much beauty out of it, honestly. You're in a stage of like prosperity. Like it's amazing.
I'm excited.
Enjoy the journey.
It's hard. I'm not going to lie. Like this, it's not always pretty on this side. And I feel like that's why I like this episode so far, because our social medias don't give this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay that it doesn't. But that's why we have this platform, to really give you guys a little inside look on what we talk about and how we feel, because we're not always happy and we're not always perfect. We're not always our best versions of ourselves, you know?
Yeah. And it's like everything that I've like accomplished, it came from hurt. So I think I'm figuring out, how do I accomplish without being hurt?
We did talk about that.
You know?
We made a joke about getting gym motivation. Like, we need our heart broken
I'm
again.
like, damn, do I need my heart broken again? But it shouldn't be like that. We should not live life like that, you know?
Yeah.
It's
like
weird.
a peaceful life can be boring a little bit, right?
Yeah. I think I need to go to therapy.
You should, sis. I've told you that. You know, my therapist.
My own therapist.
You are, but having someone else look at your life, like outside perspective, they just kind of help you put the puzzle piece together.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I haven't got to my dad with my therapist yet, but I feel like it's going to be a really interesting conversation to see what she says.
Yeah, I think it's also really pretty cool too when people engage with us in the comments and they show us a different side of the way to look at things.
Oh my God.
I read everything, so I see a couple of the comments that were so nice, you know, especially for you.
In the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys can drop your comments. You know, what do you think can help, or what have you been going through that we can help guide you or talk about? Because 9 times out of 10 people really do experience the same hurt, the same anything. So
yeah, one experience would make us feel less valued, you know, and that's real.
It's definitely much more than the physical. I think it hits mental, emotional. It hits everything you can think of.
Yeah, that one experience in my life, every life experience that I had after that, I will consider that same experience. Like, I would think less of myself. And no, don't do that. Do not do that, you know? And I feel like it's so hard to, like, install that in our head, you know? So now I know, like, how I used to be programmed. I'm like, I don't allow myself to program the old Malaya to the new Malaya, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
I don't know how to...
No, I get what you're saying.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, like, the old you is not the new you.
Yeah.
And even though it's really hard to get to that point, I feel like a lot of the times God really puts things in front of us to test us a little bit, to see if we'll go back to the old ways of how we react and how we internalize things. But how do you feel? What do you think that you've changed a lot on? Like, what's one thing that you think that you've worked on a lot?
Setting boundaries with myself. I think and boundaries is probably like the hardest thing people could do.
Yeah,
it's really hard to set boundaries. And I never had boundaries. And I feel like now, like I just said, kind of letting go of a friend, I'm setting a boundary for myself. Way too triggering what just happened this weekend for me. And I cannot, nope, you're not bringing me back to a place where I was. And now I know, like, and if that's disrespecting you and you feel like it's not good, then you're disrespecting my boundaries. That's my boundaries.
That's the hard thing about boundaries. It's like they're for us, not for other people. And that can essentially hurt other people, but we don't mean to do that.
Yeah.
We're just protecting ourselves.
Yeah.
Boundaries are not easy, and I don't think I was really taught any at a young age.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were?
Yeah, I do actually. Which is kind of weird that I'm trying to install that in myself now at this grown age. Like, because even before my dad, we were never allowed to have sleepovers. I mean, I understand why now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
My dad never allowed us to have sleepovers. He was super protective over us. But, you get to a certain age where you stop listening to your parents. So it's just like...
we think we know best. Like, it won't happen to us type of thing. We're susceptible to... Yeah.
Yeah. And I think when we, like, as young girls who are watching this, if you feel like your parents aren't hard on you, give them some grace, okay? Because we're in an evil world right now, and they're just protecting you. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Life is scary.
It is, but I'm so grateful for this episode and for you, girl, because that was brewing in me.
Yeah.
I haven't cried in a while, and I think
you just got to talk about it, write about it, you know? And then I do feel like with that, you do still have the relationship with your dad where you can talk to him, right? Like, can you call your dad right now and call, like, hey, Dad, how are you?
Yeah. I just don't think he's not an emotional man. He's not. My dad.
But does your dad even know that this is affecting you this way?
No.
Right.
No, and I don't think he'll ever get it. I love my dad, and I've accepted him for who he is, but I don't.
It's not for him to get, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talking to him and showing the way you feel, it's not for your dad to understand. It's just for you. Look at it that way, I
just feel like he's so old now that I'm like, why do I don't want to hurt him with how I feel. I don't want him to feel like he's a failure as a parent, because that's going to hurt me more. And maybe that is me being the strong daughter, but I don't want to hurt my parents. They're old. They're not going to change anymore.
Yeah. But I think it'll make you feel better.
It might.
You never know, sis.
I know.
You can't go in with, like, thinking how it would go your way. We don't ever know how it would go. That's out of our control.
I think the way I can go about it, and it's something you've taught me, actually, like, just leading it with love. Like, I don't even have to say, Dad, why did you do this? Why did you abandon me?
Yeah.
Like, it's more so like I'm just thinking, like, I could just take him out maybe to eat, and, like, we could just have a one-on-one, and, like,
approach goes a long way.
Yeah, like, how can I, because maybe it's something in his childhood that caused him to be the way he is. Like, my dad has 4 baby mamas. Like, that is not normal. Like, that's not a normal number, okay?
He wasn't playing.
No. And, but that goes to show there's something it's deep-rooted.
Yeah.
There's something down the line in his life that just didn't add up for him. And before that, because his dad was an alcoholic and he abused them. So it's like it's a chain reaction. And now I'm trying to break that curse, that generational curse, because I don't want to be with a man of that nature. Not that my dad's not a good person, but he's just not a good husband or hasn't been a present father. And that really affected me growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is hard to talk about.
Yeah, it's always hard to talk about uncomfortable things going on in our life. Right. But it shouldn't be,
I just don't want to disrespect him.
Yeah, but like we said, going in with different approaches, like I always lead with love first. Like,
You do.
Hey, Dad, I really appreciate you, and I'm so happy where I'm at in my life right now. How can you say it? Because I don't really know your dad,
Yeah.
What do you think that your dad has taught you?
He's taught me to be resilient. Like, my dad is so charming. He's like this little short guy. He's so cute, so sweet. He'll literally make conversation with anyone. He's so, in a weird way, he's such a humble person. But I can definitely say he's taught me just to be a hard worker. And I don't know.
There you go. So you can say, when you take him out to dinner, wherever you go, or just even if you go, you don't even have to go over, you don't have to do too much, you know? It's your dad. And if you go and just be like, I just want to say thank you for making me resilient and such a hard worker. Because of you, like, this is what I've accomplished, but I also have a few things that I want to have a conversation about that I feel in my heart that I just need to know, you know? And that's where you just go about the conversation with him, you know? Try that.
Oh my God. I think I am, you know. My parents are getting older. Like, why not now?
Yeah.
I don't want to regret anything. It's just I have to do it. But it's scary.
I know. But besides all that, I'm just so proud of you. Because you're just learning a new you, and this is a different side that I'm seeing. And I always say to open up, and not just open up for the podcast, but just open up because it's going to open your heart up. You know?
Yeah.
And just to see life differently.
And I think surrounding myself with good people like you and Sam and like people that really love me makes me want to love more.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting such genuine love that I'm like, damn, like people need this in the world. Like people need more love, and you can just tell when people don't have it.
Yeah.
Because they're so angry and just so mean, and they just project that they don't have someone in their life that just loves them wholeheartedly. Like,
and then once you will realize more being cautious with people's feelings. You know, like I know you just had a friendship breakup, and I feel like that's something that you guys kind of both were wrong in some things of just not being there, but it was just you guys, honestly, it's the shit that you guys went through back then. You just didn't know how to talk about it,
right?
You know, or bring up conversation. You just didn't want to hurt each other.
Correct. I'm a tiptoeer.
Yeah, you are.
You know I am. I don't like to...
I don't let that ass tiptoe.
You don't. I don't like conflict, but sometimes things need to be brought up to be fixed, you know, to help better the relationship.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, honestly. And that's what I learned, too, when I was talking to my cousin I haven't spoke to 7 years. Like, she was just saying how she didn't know a lot of the things that I was telling her. And I was just like, yeah, it's just because I was protecting our relationship. I just didn't want it to end. But then I should have spoke up. A lot of things that I...
you let a lot of things slide because you loved her.
Yes. And she's just like, I wish you just talked about it. Because then, look, 7 years went by. She has a kid. Like, but I think everything happens for a reason, you know? Absolutely. Like, we were just too much alike and so together that it was just like... I don't think we would have made choices that we did right now, you know?
And I don't think you would have valued each other the same.
Yeah.
If you didn't, you know, give that time away. And I told you that.
Yeah.
Like, people, sometimes you need to not have what you're used to understand the value they brought into your life.
Yeah. And it was crazy. Even when we were having the conversation, I felt like we were talking like if we were 16 again. Wow. Yeah, it just went right back to our conversations. Yeah, it was just so genuine, honestly. It was crazy. It was really weird.
It just goes to show how much love you guys still have for each other.
Oh, yeah.
Despite the situations you guys were in.
Literally, yeah. It's hard to have a conversation because everybody was so drunk in our face, but yeah, it was real. So, you know, moving forward, I know things probably will never be back the same, and I don't think things should go back the same, you know? And I think that, like, now it's easier, like, to hit her up. How are you? How's your daughter? You know, just little things.
And now you know it's a mutual feeling. It's like a sense of peace. You guys forgave each other. There's closure.
Yeah.
What's next for you two?
Yeah. I can't wait that for you, sis.
I'm excited.
You're already finding it. Little do you know.
Yeah, I think I just also need to understand that this is a process and a journey, and it's not overnight. But I'm so grateful for you guys. I always tell, like, even just spending the whole day with Sam on Saturday, I'm like,
how was that?
Oh my God, I love her. Like, being around people who genuinely love you will definitely make you want to open up your heart more to people and be genuine and forgive.
Yeah, Sam is one of my best friends. I don't know what I'll do without her, honestly.
I can't wait for her to come on the podcast.
I know. Sam, where you at? But I think, you know, where are we at?
Probably
we're at an hour. Sometimes we can't. Our editing becomes difficult when we go over an hour, so we'll probably close it. But I really hope you guys enjoy this podcast. It was really deep, and it very was serious. So we'll definitely put that in the caption, because I know it's not that serious, but sometimes shit is very seriously, you know. So you just have to be very mindful and aware of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope they helped a lot of younger, even older women who still haven't talked about daddy issues or being sexually assaulted. And I just hope you guys know that I'm literally a fucking, the definition of life goes on.
Yeah.
Because it does. And, you know, just find peace within yourself. And sometimes it's hard because we're always at war with the world. But once you find peace with yourself, everything will fall in place on how you want it.
Absolutely. And we're here. We're here. If you guys have any questions, let us know in the comment section.
Yes.
This was definitely a deeper episode, but I feel like we just got on here and wanted to really just talk.
Yeah, literally that damn fly, bro. The fuck? It's just like our exes. They always come back. But we love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
That was cute, sis.